An inclusive financing model for MSMEs in Eswatini has been developed with the aim of alleviating a key constraint faced by micro, small and medium enterprises, that of access to finance. The model was developed with the technical assistance of the Economic Commission for Africa and launched on the 1st of September 2021. The goal is to expand access to funding, support SME growth and redress the challenges in the SME financing ecosystem. A closeout meeting of the financing model for micro, small and medium enterprises for the Kingdom of Eswatini was held on 5 July 2023 at the Mountain View Hotel in Mbabane. Here are some takeaways of the deliberations.
Members, what does this financing model mean to the private sector? One, this financing model is coming at a time when, as a country, we are reviewing our policies. One key policy which we are busy with these days is the industrialization policy. If you talk industrialization without considering the financing model, it might be a challenge when it gets to implementation of that policy. Secondly, this policy is coming at a time where, as a country, we are trying our best to neutralize or simplify the means of doing business. We have a program called State Business Relations, which is a program housed under the Prime Minister's office, championed by the Minister of Commerce, obviously. What does this program do or seeks to do for the sector? It wants to ease the way we're doing business, the constraints of doing business in the country. So this financing model is coming at the right time because financial constraints in the private sector have been a challenge. Now, where we see the whole thing going into now, with the state business relations model on the side, now we have a financing model on the side. It means now the financiers will be part of the solution towards making the means of doing business simplified in the country. And we're so excited about this for that reason. You find a lot of business people saying, I have a challenge in terms of capitalizing my business. I have a challenge in sourcing funding. I have a challenge in meeting my financial obligations. Now, with the properly structured financial model, we believe it will bring sense to the ease of doing business. And thanks a lot for that. Thanks a lot for that. We really appreciate it.
Truth be told, we need more business development. We need more incubation, mentorship centers, instead of more financial institutions. I think we have enough. In order to develop the micro, small and medium enterprise sector in terms of capacity and active participation in the mainstream economic activities. Again, according to the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, which is GEM, fear of failure is a serious constraint in potential business startups in many economies from all income groups. Around half of those seeing business opportunities in the different economies are nevertheless deterred from taking action by fear of failure. Access to educational programs specifically focused on entrepreneurship, risk assessment, mitigation, coupled with policies that reduce the perceived personal costs, risk and failure, could unleash significant wave to increase entrepreneurial activity. So let's inculcate the entrepreneurial culture on citizens at a very young age. Let's continue to do so as they grow. Now, as I conclude, let me state that as financial institutions, we welcome and fully support the proposed model, more so because it is founded on research and robust engagements with broad groups or groupings, which is the SMEs and the financing organizations and all other partners and players in the space. If we implement these findings, the findings of this model quite well, the financing landscape for small and medium enterprises will be left brimming with great potential and socio-economic development.
The MSME sector in Eswatini is in a precarious situation. It is a sector that contributes, there are about 70,000 of them in the country. They employ about 90% 90,000 people, which represents 21% of the workforce, and contribute some 50% of GDP. Half of the country's GDP, in fact, comes from the MSME sector, and that is substantial. But most of these MSMEs, about 3/4 of them, are owned by independent entrepreneurs. They are located in rural areas. They are female headed, and they operate in the informal sector. So I think taken together, these characteristics really describe the precarious situation in which MSMEs in Eswatini actually are. And most of these enterprises are set up by necessity rather than by choice. I think this is an important statement. What it means is that entrepreneurs in the small business sector, they go into a business not by choice. It's only because they are not able to find a decent job that they end up in that sector. So in a way, they end up as entrepreneurs by default. The problem facing MSMEs is not exactly a problem of access to finance. It is more a problem of lack of preparedness to access finance. So these are different things. Okay, the point is that money is not the problem. The money is there. Okay, but these entrepreneurs, these small businesses are not able to access the money because they are not ready to go into business. They are not business ready. And that is an important point. And I hope you will keep that at the back of your mind as we go through this, through the rest of the presentation.
Overall, it was a good initiative, and I was honored to be invited to come here. I participated in the training, giving information, absorbing information in drafting of this financial model, and I look forward to it being implemented. The main giveaways that I enjoyed, the successes of this, was to be involved in the training. The training being made to be financially prepared to get financing. A lot of it was missed. It was not there at the businesses, and through the training we were able to gain some information. Another information was to learn about the various offerings that they, or financing offerings that they do have to develop small businesses. And the third one, the case assess, was the minister's ability to listen to our concerns, to able to research and know how to deal with our concerns. The main takeaways that I will take in terms of challenges that we faced, it was the fact that it was too short. Sometimes they would come and address, I guess it's the nature of collecting information. On that, I feel like just focusing on financing alone was not good enough, because we have other major problems which impact financing, so which I feel like they have to be looked after, they have to be looked at in order for us to be ready for financing. Because as they said, majority of businesses, they do not have the requirements that are needed to get the financing. The money is there. So I guess one of the challenges that they have to go to the future is to make sure to identify what exactly is the problem that makes us unable to access the finance.
Here today we are on the closeout meeting, which basically will then chart a way forward in terms of what will then follow next. But we see that there are quite a number of challenges that we need to address, which were raised in the report, and we acknowledge that our stakeholders, as we work together, we should be in a position to close those gaps. One of those is that we really need to ensure that there are trainings, the adequate trainings for entrepreneurs when they access funding, because without that training they cannot continue to run their businesses effectively. So that is one of the area that we need to improve on, and we've seen that also issues of a business plan which do not match the requirements by financial institutions, and also that one we really need to address. So I think as a way forward, if all of those issues are addressed, we should be able to have a framework that will contribute positively to the development and promotion of our micro, small and medium enterprises. Yes, indeed, we acknowledge that even on the side of our entrepreneurs, there are issues that they need to address as well. Such issues as managing their businesses properly and also their finances, and owning up to their financial obligations in terms of repaying their business loans once they are granted those. So those are all the challenges that we really need to overcome as we work on the implementation of this framework.
The importance of MSMEs for Eswatini and Southern Africa cannot be overemphasized. We know that MSMEs are the cornerstones of inclusive and sustainable development, with the potential to significantly accelerate industrialization and support high value addition activities. Today's closeout meeting is certainly not the end in sight. We call on our development partners and development finance institutions to join us in this endeavor as we strive to accelerate implementation of the recommendations proffered for Eswatini. Looking ahead, we hope to influence rollout to the rest of the region and hope that the financing framework for Eswatini will serve as a model for the other Southern African countries. It is my further hope that we will leave today's meeting with a renewed sense of urgency and shared responsibility as we embark on this challenging, crucial stage.